the marketing coordinator for the College of Business. And so before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and let our interpreter, Leila, go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, I'm a sign language interpreter with the DRC. I'm staff at Lamar. If you are deaf and you need interpreting services today, you can look at my video, and in the top right corner, there'll be 3 dots. And then from that drop-down menu, just pick the pin option. And if someone shares their screen, you again just look in the top right corner, click that button, and it'll allow you to toggle back and forth. Thank you.
Thanks, Leila. So again, guys, this is a major discussion of 4 different majors: economics and finance, as well as accounting and business law. And so our guest for today is Dr. Giselle Moss. She is department chair and professor of accounting and business law, as well as Dr. James Sladen. He is department chair and professor of economics and finance. Also joining us is Becca Wells, who is an admissions counselor. She's going to be answering any admissions questions that you guys have. At the very bottom of your screen, you'll see we have the chat option, and so you can leave your questions there, and either myself, Dr. Moss, Dr. Sladen, or Becca will answer those questions for you guys. Just so you know, your videos and your mics are turned off for your privacy. And again, you can ask those questions that you may have right down in that chat box. We are recording this session to be posted on our website. The video will be closed captioned. And so without further ado, let's get started. Dr. Sladen, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. If you could just introduce yourself and just give us a few facts about the economics and finance department.
Well, hi, I'm James Sladen. I am the professor of finance, chair of economics and finance. We have over 100 majors. Of course, we have the standard core. So standard things people ask, a lot of our students and things that they do. Did you want to go over that now or later on as far as that?
Sure, you can do it now, whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever works.
You know, we have students, a lot of our students go work at banks. They work at the credit unions. Surprisingly, a lot of our students are going into insurance right now. So I've been meeting quite a few of our students that are working different jobs in insurance. Certified financial planner is a big one that has picked up a lot. So we have quite a few students. We have a few that go into being like a stockbroker, a stock analyst. So a wide variety of careers. And of course, a lot of people in economics, of course, it's a lot of variety. Some of them go on to be lawyers and different things. So they have that. So I do have Dr. Moss with me. She was having a little trouble connecting, so she's in my office with me. So,
hi, I'm sorry. Technology is wonderful when it works. You want me to tell a little bit about accounting and business law?
Yes, please do.
Okay, we have the business law is a minor. We do have business law minor. Even in every business degree, you'll take a couple of business law courses because that's just necessary for business. We also have a major in accounting. We have a master's of science in accounting as well. If you're interested in accounting, you now need 150 credit hours in order to sit for the CPA exam. So with the undergraduate accounting degree, you get 120 credit hours. And then with the master's, another 34. So you fulfilled all the obligations to sit for the CPA exam, which of course, most accountants, that's one of the things they really aspire to, is to sit for that exam. Our students go to a variety of places when they graduate. We have a very strong internship program. You can earn up to 6 graduate hours, credit hours in your graduate degree for completing an internship. We place students in local CPA firms. We place students in Big 4 national CPA firms and every size in between. We place students in corporations such as Exxon and Motiva, governmental jobs. Lots of our students work with local governments. You know, the coursework, you'll do the university core, you'll do the business core, and then you do our accounting classes. That's kind of the basics. I don't know if y'all have some other questions.
More about internships. Who can do an internship within your program?
Are you asking the accounting program? You went out
Yeah.
on it. Okay, in the accounting program, typically the internship falls in the spring of your senior year. And what happens if you can do a local one here in the Beaumont area, and you may spread that over the entire semester. If you go to Houston, a number of our students like to go to some of the firms in Houston for their internship. They go from early January to spring break, work a lot of hours, make a lot of money. They are paid internships, and then come back here to Lamar, and we have courses designed for the last half of that semester. So in total, you stay a full-time student. You get the internship credit, and we have a couple of courses you take as well. And if those are master's level courses, but then you go right back in, finish your undergraduate. Typically, you come away with your internship with a job offer. So you get your job offer, you come back here and go to school for another year, and then go get your job.
And this is a question for both you, Dr. Moss, as well as Dr. Sladen. You know, when students kind of think of the College of Business, they don't really associate undergraduate research. So can both of you speak about undergraduate research opportunities that we have available for students?
Yeah, we have some. Right now, we have some doing McNair Scholar. So this is where an undergraduate actually writes a research paper, and we try to get it published. I did one a few years ago where I worked with an undergraduate student that's now working in the banking. And so we did a paper and we got it published. So there are undergraduate research opportunities. There's some going on. Dr. Gabor, Dr. Skutarian is doing right now where they have a few. But as far as undergraduate, there's usually a little bit more at the master's level. I've actually done quite a few papers with my master's students. Undergraduates are usually fairly hectic, but like I said, there are opportunities like the McNair Scholar is one that I've worked on and that we have a couple going right now. And I've actually used several undergraduate students on an EDA grant that I have that I'm doing right now. So they actually have helped collect data, put the data together, do it, organize, and do all that type of stuff. So I've used a few of them in the past year on that type of stuff.
We have some, we have it both undergraduate and graduate. I think our professors are very open to that. We've had some interest and we've always found professors to work with if you have an interest in that. So we're happy to work with you on that.
Okay. And I know we have had a few undergraduate students doing undergraduate research, studying abroad. I know we had several students this past semester, as well as in the fall semester, do undergraduate research in Alicante, Spain. So that was an interesting opportunity. And so within the College of Business, we have study abroad opportunities. Our students have gone to Spain, Costa Rica, Argentina, France, China, and we also have a semester exchange program in France as well. So we have so many different opportunities, and it's so special. And, you know, I think that a lot of students don't really consider that when they come into a university. They don't think about the study abroad opportunities, but they are definitely there for all of you guys. They're available for both online and on-campus students. And so that's something that's really special. And I know we were all supposed to travel to Alicante, Spain this past summer. Well, this coming up summer, as well as during spring break, we were doing study abroad trips. So those things will definitely be available for you guys. But Dr. Moss, can you speak a little bit about what's your favorite thing to teach within the College of Business? What are some of your favorite courses to really teach?
My favorite is, it's called Accounting 3370, and it's one of the first courses that majors take. And I just enjoy it so much because I get majors early on, and I enjoy teaching the course, but what I enjoy so much about it is I get the majors early on, and I see them in the hallway all throughout their undergraduate degree, and many stay and get their master's. So I really get to know the students, and that's the joy of teaching. On that same note, in accounting, we have two student organizations. One is the Accounting Society, which everyone is invited to join, and the other is Beta Alpha Psi, which is an honor society. So you have to take a couple accounting courses before you can be invited to join that. The two groups usually meet together. We have tons of speakers that come. We have 2 accounting-only recruiting events each year. That's where most of our students find their employment. We have, 1 or 2 meetings, usually about 2 meetings a month. There's always pizza or something. There's food involved, but we have all these guest speakers. Also, the accounting faculty is really active with the students. So our faculty, the one thing that I know that our former dean always said about our faculty was I can always count on them talking about students, whether they're complaining or complimenting, they're always talking about students. And that really is, we just enjoy our students and we invest in our students.
That's right. Dr. Sladen, can you also speak to your favorite course to teach here in the College of Business?
Well, actually, my favorite is the Principles of Finance, the introductory one, because it's the first time students get to see how much finance goes into their life from their decisions. They don't think about how insurance works and how it goes, or even the risk return, how we make choices in life of whether we do it or not. When you talk to students about speeding, I said, well, you have a choice. It's reward. Do you get home faster or do you drive slower? And they don't really think about that, but it's really how it affects everything. So bring that in there, and not only were their retirement and how they're going to do it in jobs and whether they finance their house and how it goes in cars, to coming to the end where we do capital budgeting, where every single business uses that to make a decision. Do you invest in this project or not? Do you expand, and how it applies? So I actually like that, because then you get to see the students and they actually see, wait a second, this is stuff that actually will be doing the rest of my life in some fashion. So that's the one I probably enjoy the most.
All right. Just listening to both you, Dr. Sladen, and Dr. Moss speak about the dynamic between yourselves and your students, it really speaks to just the environment that we have within the College of Business. Our faculty are located right in the Galloway Business Building. So as soon as you finish your class, if you have a question, you can always go right down the hallway to your professor's office for office hours. So our faculty are there. They're available for you. Even the dean of the college, Dr. Dan French, he's always in his office, he's always available. So, and he makes himself available. If students have a question, you can always go to him. That's just the culture that we have. We have small course sizes, so our faculty get to know our students, and that's something that we really pride ourselves on, having that dynamic. And then Dr. Moss, I'm so glad that you mentioned events. Within the College of Business, we have the Michael G. Weinert Entrepreneurial Lecture Series. And so that's also something special that we have. We invite business alumni back to the college. And so they'll speak to our students. And our students get the inside scoop on what employers are looking for, what they can anticipate once they graduate, the job market, just different tips on professional development. So that's something that we have. And then not just that, but a select group of students are invited after the lecture to sit down with that speaker, sit down with that alumni, with a small little lunch. And so they'll have that opportunity to speak one-on-one and ask those questions. And, just get, like I said, get the inside scoop and kind of get those special extra tips that most students around really don't get. So we really love our lecture series is around here. But Dr. Moss, can you also speak a little bit about some of the accounting events that we have on students for students to attend? I know we've done Meet the Firms and different things like that. So can you speak a little bit about some of those events that we've had?
My favorite is probably Meet the Firms. We have one in fall and one in spring. We have employers from the Houston area, sometimes Lufkin, sometimes Dallas, sometimes Austin, and of course all the local area, who come in, and literally we set up a table for each employer, and students walk up, and typically the employers, there'll be 3 or 4 from their company or their firm, and students walk up. You've already prepared your resume. The employers get a resume book ahead of time. We help you with that. In fact, in one of the classes I teach early on, it's just like a 10-point project, but the 10-point project is you have to get your resume together, and you have to do it in our accounting format. We're accountants. We like uniformity, and we put a book together with your resume in it. Again, I mentioned earlier, we typically have students start going early, even before it's time for them to interview for their internship or their job. Because we're a smaller program, we can allow all of our students to go And that way you start building relationships, because you're going to see the people at Meet the Firms. And then they're going to come back and they're going to make a presentation to Beta Alpha Psi Accounting Society about something in accounting. And after that event, we're going to stand around and talk to them. So you're going to see them then. And then they're going to come back and we have a big panel discussion each year with a lot of different CPAs. They're going to come back for that. And after that, there's a little reception. So you're going to meet them again. So before you're really interviewing for your job, you're probably meeting these various employers, getting a feel for their company or their firm, and they're getting a feel for you. Are you a good fit? And then about a year later is when you're really interviewing for that internship, and which typically leads to your job. So that's one of my favorite events. And again, all the events are tied together. Before Meet the Firms, we have a session where each firm has a table. It's very informal. You go sit at their table for a little while. It's really kind of an icebreaker before you're in the formal interview situation, so to speak. We have all throughout the year approximately 2 events a month, that there's somebody here, somebody that's an employer, somebody you get to meet. A lot of it is professional development. They'll come and tell you how you interview for that job. So, you know, there's tons of opportunities, not just in accounting, but in the College of Business and the university as a whole, for any kind of organization you're interested in or want to be a part of.
That's right, Dr. Moss. And I believe even before Meet the Firms, don't you have the employer informational sessions that you got a total separate event that you have the students attend, where they can sort of see what firms are looking for and see their expectations. And that way they have a chance to kind of get ready for Meet the Firms and make sure they're meeting those expectations.
That's exactly right. And most of our employers, at least part of the employee team, recruiting team, is a Lamar alum. They're invested in hiring Lamar alums. They're invested in promoting Lamar alums and working with them. That's why we have such good recruiting, is because our alums come back and work with us. They had a great experience here. They know you're getting a good education here, and they want to perpetuate that. And so that's why we are so lucky, because we're a smaller program, that we get so much support. I don't know if you want to hear this or not, but we also, the Texas State Society of CPAs, we have a local chapter here, the Southeast Texas chapter. We're the only university that falls within them. So they do a lot of stuff with us as well. And they have a couple of fundraisers every year where they raise about $7,000 to $8,000 in scholarships for just Lamar students. The Houston universities, there's a Houston chapter, but it has about 8 universities. It spreads all of its, you know, interaction, scholarship money with. So we're very fortunate that we have an association that's just kind of dedicated to us as far as the education side of it.
Thank you, Dr. Moss. And Dr. Slayton, could you also speak to the events that our economics and finance students are able to attend?
Yeah, one of them, like you mentioned, was we had a lecture series where Mr. Comier came in, and he is a local guy, and actually, surprisingly, a lot of students get surprised that they have over $500 million in assets in real estate that they manage right here locally. So students get to have that meeting, and then they had a luncheon where we had about a dozen of us there with students. About 10 students were there and able to ask questions. Other things we have is we do have the FMA, Financial Management Association, that meets, and they will go a lot of times, you know, 1 or 2 trips a year on top of having speakers come in and speak. They will take them to like the Federal Reserve. So the students actually get to go over the Federal Reserve and see how things work and operate there. And another thing we have is the Student Managed Investment Fund that we actually have, where students manage real money, and they do it through a class, so that it actually gets to see how things are done and traded. And then we send a few students with that, depending on the year, how many. This year, unfortunately, with COVID, it got canceled. But they go up to New York, and they actually compete in a game organization where it goes through how well they performed versus other student managed funds up there. So they make a trip up to Quinnipiac in New York and actually get to do that. And so it's actually a trading, a real good thing that they actually get to trade real stocks, go through all the stuff that's done. So it makes a very good thing for them. So those are just a few that we have. You're still muted, Shelby.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As Dr. Moss spoke on, we do have a strong alumni network here at the university as a whole. The really cool thing about the College of Business is that we have tons of resources located right in the Galloway Business Building. We have the Career and Professional Development Center where our students can go, whether you're an alumni or a student, you can go there and get professional development tips, help with resumes. We have an event called JCPenney Suit Up where our students or our alumni can get a percentage off at JCPenney's if they purchase professional work attire. So we have all those kinds of things. Right now, our Career and Professional Development Center is currently doing virtual sessions for our students and alumni. That way, if you need that help, if you need that resume help, if you need help with a job searching, whether on campus or off campus, that's what they're there for. And so, like I said, our business students, they can just walk right down from class and head right into the Center for the Career and Professional Development Center and get that help that they need. So that's a super cool perk that we have being in the Galloway Business Building. Dr. Slayton, can you tell me a little bit about how long you've been at the university?
I've been at Lamar for 15 years, but I'm also from the area, so I actually got my undergraduate and my master's here at Lamar before I went off to Texas Tech to get my doctorate. So I've actually been in contact with the university in some form or fashion for, my mom started teaching here back in the 70s. So I've had a lot of contact with Lamar for many years, but I've actually been back here teaching for about 15.
Oh, I love that. And that's another great thing about Lamar University. You know, most of our students, they graduate, they go off, but they always typically come back. You know, this just feels like home for a lot of us, especially the Beaumont, Southeast Texas area. This is just home for us. Dr. Moss, how long have you been teaching here at the university?
I had been here 22 years. My husband was a finance professor. In fact, he had James' position. Well, he stepped down from department chair, but he retired recently, but he had been here over 30 years. We have a number of professors who've been here a lot of years. It's just a good place to be, a good place to work. But then we have a lot of younger faculty as well, so you don't feel like you're just always with us that are about ready to retire. Though some of us are the more fun ones, really. But it's been 22 good years. It's been a good place to have a family, raise a family, and have a career.
I love that. And speaking of careers, can I have both of you speak a little bit about the different types of careers that students are able to get in each of these fields? I know there can be a lot of misconception. You know, when you hear economics, you're like, I don't know. Or when you hear accounting, you're like, well, I hate numbers. You know, so what sort of careers can our students really get if they major in either one of these programs?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. Like I had mentioned earlier, we have a lot of our students go working in the local banking and working for finance companies. So think about it, you know, if you go buy a car, well, you whether get you financing through the bank or you actually do it through the car dealership, they've got to have somebody there from financing. So we have a lot at the credit unions. Like I said, surprisingly, I've ran into quite a few of our students here recently working in the insurance field. We have a lot go into real estate that end up doing that. Texas is a little different than other states as far as brokers, but we have a lot of them that like to do that. We have a few students, we have one that just happened, Jasmine did that are doing analyst work. So she actually went off to Utah and doing that type stuff. So she's trying to decide, does she want to do the analyst side or do the stockbroker side and being a broker doing that? So we have quite a few diverse careers for the people in the area of what they end up wanting to do. I mean, I worked for a finance company when I was getting my master's, so it was very enjoyable and I like doing that. So we have quite a few careers that are possible. In economics, a lot of them go into government. Some of them want to go into analyst. There's the actuarial work that some people in economics and finance like to go into. That's really detailed. That right now you've been hearing all this stuff about statistics. Well, somebody actually has to come up with these models and do this type of stuff. Well, from the other side, from the economic side, that's where a lot of those do that. So it's very interesting or exciting. A lot of people end up enjoying doing that.
Well, in accounting, pick what you want. every company, every business, every nonprofit, every governmental agency, Lamar, everybody has to have an accountant. You just have to have one. So we're usually one of the early ones in the door and the last one out the door if a company ceases to exist. A lot of our students choose to start in auditing or tax. Those are kind of the two big fields if you go to work for a CPA firm. Tax, I think you know what it is. We all pay taxes, but auditing is where an accountant goes in and reviews the books of a company to see if they're presenting fairly their financial position. So they go in and do some sample testing. Did they handle these transactions right? Are they reporting these things right? You can go to work for a company. You can be a financial accountant. You can help prepare the financial statements. You can be a managerial accounting, help make decisions like should we make a product or buy this part for the product instead of making it. There's all sorts of options. It is truly as varied as the number of businesses and entities there are. So it's a world full. Accounting is often also used as a stepping stone. Many CEOs of companies have accounting or finance backgrounds because companies are judged on their numbers. Ultimately, your stock value, how long your company lasts, it's judged on the financial statements. So a strong finance or accounting background is often what's required to get in the upper echelons of a company. And I mean, you can major in marketing and learn numbers. It's not necessarily that you have to major in one of these, but ultimately, to move up high in a company, you're going to have to understand the accounting finance function of it. So go for whatever degree, get the accounting degree, the finance degree, and then go work for whatever company or in whatever field you choose.
Well, what actually happens to a lot of students is, well, they get their finance degree, economics degree, or accounting degree, they'll start in their job, and when they start doing it, they'll actually see the career path that they want to take. And so it might not be exactly what they trained in. They'll go in and go, okay, now that I've got this and I'll into my career. And so they go, okay, well, I'll go work at Motiva or go work at a bank or go do that. And then they start doing it at the bank and they start doing it, okay, well, I'm doing loans. But then they start talking to the people applying for loans and go, the business you're in is what I'm really interested in. And now they see the career path and they'll end up changing. So a lot of times, what we do is we're able to get you in the door, but then you need to decide where you want to go from there. And a lot of people say, what really inspires them? Because if you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life, you have to find something you enjoy doing. So this allows them to choose. And by having the degree, you can modify. So I know a lot of people that have accounting degrees that aren't doing traditional accounting, that they decide, I would prefer to manage or run the business more than doing the number side of that. So this happens all the time, but it allows them to make that decision once they get the job of where they want to flourish in their career.
And one thing I would like to add to, accounting is not math. It is numbers because we report in dollars, but we're not doing complicated math. Now, if you're good in math, oftentimes accounting comes easy because there's a logic to accounting. You know, there's a logic to how you do it, but it's not complicated calculus or algebra. I mean, it's simple math, but some of the concepts are difficult. I mean, you have to figure out how to account for all sorts of different things, leasing equipment, pension funds. It's not easy, but it's not math. Numbers, but not math. Okay. We can't hear you.
You're still muted again.
Thank you, Dr. Slayton. I was saying I'm so glad that Dr. Moss mentioned that because I know there's a lot of misconceptions out there just about several different majors and several different fields. You know, when you hear accounting, you're like, math has never been my thing. I'm staying away from that. But, you know, I'm glad that you're here to really kind of help students figure out and realize, okay, maybe this is something that I like to do. Maybe this is something that I can do and that I'm interested in doing for the rest of my life. And so, guys, if any of you have any additional questions, I'm going to put our contact information up on the screen here in just a little bit so that you can reach out to either myself, Dr. Slayton, or Dr. Moss if you have any questions about economics and finance or accounting and business law or the College of Business in general. And so for right now, I'm just going to thank Dr. Moss. Thank you so much. And Dr. Sladen, thank you for joining us. Our admissions counselor, Becca Wells, and our interpreter, Leela. I want to thank you guys, and thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to share my screen here right now so you can go ahead and see our contact information. Give me 1 second to do that. Okay, so there's our contact information, guys. Again, there's Dr. Moss, Dr. Sladen, and myself if you need anything. And also, if you need to find your admissions counselor, you can go ahead and type in that link in your browser, and you'll be able to find your admissions counselor. And if any of you guys have any additional questions, or you want to go ahead and leave your contact information in the chat box down below, you can go ahead and do so now, and we'll be sure to get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.